Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Card Advantage podcast. It is Saturday, April 9th, 9:41 p.m., episode 54. Joined, as always, by my right-hand man, Mr. Bunk. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man? Just pausing some baseball watching to talk to you and with you.
Talk to me and with me, yes. So we're gonna start out this week's episode real quick. R.I.P. Dwayne Haskins. Definitely some unfortunate news coming out of the sports world this morning. Really, really tragic accident for that. Sorry to start this on a somber note, but wanted to lead off with that. Not to break it down to what we talk about, but I don't think you're going to see a ton of hobby impact as a result of this. Not to belittle his passing, but we're not really going to get into it. Just RIP to his family and everything else. Moving along, we are going to talk a little Sports Card Advantage business real quick. Site is live, sportscardadvantage.com. Please go check it out if you haven't already. I think the most helpful things for people, if you're new to the hobby, some great articles. If you are a hobby veteran, there are some fantastic tools on the site that you can use, including a sports card alarm for eBay auctions, a calculator for profit and loss for buying and selling cards, and then an alternative comp tool to 130. Also, we are doing our giveaway. If you go to the website and click on the giveaway button, you'll see that we're giving away a VIP pass to the National in July, or either a $200 slab or a $200 break credit to your favorite breaker. All you have to do is go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, leave us a review, take a screenshot, send it to us, and you will be entered. Very few people have entered so far. Apparently, the less than 5 minutes it takes to do that is too much. So right now, very, very good odds of winning. So please help us out and throw in one of those reviews.
But what are the other prizes, sir? Not everyone's going to national.
Well, I just said it.
$200
slab.
I must have zoned out.
Yeah, stop watching the fucking baseball.
I closed the damn baseball window.
Stop watching the
you
box
got all
scores.
My attention.
The other prizes for the rest of you who decided to tune me out are a $200 slab. We'll figure out something that you like if you win, or a $200 break credit to your favorite breaker. You clear on?
I got it that time.
You clear on what the prizes are? All right, thank you.
Good.
Fantastic. All right, moving along, we have a Sports Card Advantage podcast first, which is somewhat unlikely these days, considering we are a year into this. We're going to talk wrestling. We have yet to ever talk wrestling in any capacity, in any way, shape, or form on this podcast. And today's the first. So let's talk 2022 WWE Prizm. And I got an email. The fans want an "Oh yeah, Randy Macho Man Savage style" from you. So if you want to throw that in there, feel free to.
They certainly do not. I was a Hulk Hogan guy. So
can you give me a little for those that are watching on YouTube?
Well, next week I'll wear a shirt I can actually rip off.
Oh, God help us all. All right, let's get into the actual nitty gritty of what we're talking about. $1,374 a box is the nitty gritty of what we're talking about. 2022 Prizm WWE Wrestling, $1,374 a box. To put that in perspective, the prices 2020 and 2021 NFL Prizm were $14.99 a box. The 2021 hasn't come out yet. It comes out in 2 weeks. Pre-sale price is $14.99. That's crazy.
Well, listen. First of all, I mean, let's state some facts. Wrestling has some fanatical fans,
Yes.
and you see the arenas, the stadiums, the venues they fill out weekly for their shows, right?
Yeah.
So it is wildly popular. So my question to you is: are these wrestling dudes and gals that are getting into the card space because of this release, or are these just people who are savvy and know how to make money in the space and they're just taking advantage of this?
Well, I think you got a little bit of both. We'll go over some completed eBay auctions here in a minute and look through some of the stuff that's closed and some of the prices. I mean, yes, it's initial product, and those prices are higher than they probably will eventually settle into.
But
But
they're high,
yeah, they're high.
extraordinarily high.
But if you look at last year's WWE product, granted, Panini Prism did not put out WWE product last year of any note. So your big products last year were Topps Chrome and WWE Undisputed. The Topps Chrome box sold for $249, and the WWE Undisputed box Topps sold for four and change. So your most expensive WWE box, to my knowledge, was less than $500. This year, you're looking at 3x that.
Well, listen, we determined there's no previous Prism releases, right?
I don't believe so. Not that I
And you
could
just
find.
and you just told me last week, doesn't Panini have WWE rights now?
No, Tops just, I believe, Fanatics signed that license with them. So whatever rights they have. Hold on, let me look. Yeah, WWE and Fanatics Inc. broad deal covering e-commerce.
Oh,
So
so they don't even have it. I was just looking at it from the standpoint, you know how cards go with, it's someone's first Prism card or that sort of thing. So if it's the first time it's ever been released, that's probably why it's so high. But then it might be gone in a few years. So,
yeah, I mean, it looks like Fanatics acquires WWE trading card license.
oh,
So
all right. Well, there
I
goes that theory.
yeah, I mean, it let's see. Um, it will. I mean, I believe Panini's license will expire. Okay, yeah, 2022 Prism Panini's new multi-year deal will run its course before it moves to Fanatics.
Wow.
So they'll get a couple years out of it, and then that's it.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I wonder if they came out shooting so high because it was the first time it's ever been released. I mean, how does a new product like that, especially on an alternative sport like that, how do they determine that it's gonna fly off the shelves at that higher price point?
I mean,
Because they
I,
got it right. People are
I
buying it now.
yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the sales on eBay, this product came out very, very recently. You can see some of the major breakers are breaking it, which is interesting. I've never seen wrestling get broke, in a break before. And this week alone, I saw Platinum and a couple other guys that were breaking wrestling. If you look at some of the completed sales on eBay, I mean, I'll just read through some of these. I mean, this is a walk down memory lane for those of us in our 40s, as far as our childhood is concerned, which is, I think, another reason why this is so popular, because you have a nostalgia factor. So, 2022 Prism Bruno San Martino Gold went for $2,001 best offer. Triple H WWE Champion Signatures Auto out of 25 went for $9,000 best offer. 2022 Prism Ultimate Warrior 1 of 1 went for $15,000. 2022 Prism Gable Stevenson, who I have no idea who that is,
I've never heard of him.
$14,000.
What? What is going on?
2022 Prism WWE Wrestling Hobby Box Factory Sealed Case, 12 boxes per case, went for 12 grand, which doesn't make sense considering the boxes themselves are selling for $13.75. So that's a very discounted price.
Those color
John's
blasts are through the roof.
Yeah, John Cena Color Blast went for $38.52 best offer. Uh,
I can get a car for that.
Stone Cold Steve Austin Gold out of 10 non-auto went for 3,000 best offer. Undertaker Signatures Gold out of 10 went for 9,800 at auction. Andre the Giant $8,000 gold 10 out of 10. Some current female wrestler Bianca Belair $5,200 for the Color Blast. I mean, we're talking insane prices for some of this stuff. A Roman Reigns Color Blast, 5,100 at auction. So I think you're gonna. I guess you're gonna see some of the stuff that you see with all other alternative markets, F1, soccer. When those got hot, you saw a ton of that product get bought and ripped and sold, sealed wax and all this. And as you said, the audience for WWE is massive. It's global, and they are selling out arenas every single week, 48 weeks a year, or whatever ridiculous schedule they keep. It's not like football, where baseball, basketball, where there's an off season. There is no off season for wrestling. It's Monday Night fucking Raw every week, week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always fascinated to see what sets the market. Yeah, sure, the box price is high, and then when these cards first hit, how do people just keep sitting there bidding stuff up? There's nothing to comp to, right? I mean, maybe some similar wrestlers from other products, but I think it's got to be the Prism factor.
Yeah, I think it's Prism, and I also think there's a nostalgia factor, and I also think, I mean, some of the cards are awesome. Like if you
Oh, they
haven't,
look cool.
yeah,
That Cena Color Blast is awesome.
yeah, the
I,
Cena
I mean, I
color.
would love to own it, but not for 38K.
Well, that was 30. Well, it's 3,800.
No,
But
3800. I'm
the
sorry.
other, there's two Cena color blasts that have sold so far, which is also interesting if they're case hits. One sold for 3,800, and then the other one sold for 7,500. I mean, it could be the same card, but
Oh, I thought I saw a 5-digit Color Blast out of that product. I thought it was Cena.
it was listed at like 15K or best offer.
Ah, that's what I saw then. Okay. All right.
Um,
When I heard you say 3.8 and one going, I thought you listed a $38,000
no, no, no.
finish on that
Yeah,
card.
and you said you were listening and paying attention, guy. Apparently, that's not the case.
I didn't
Um,
take my meds.
and here's the other weird thing that people are paying over retail for these I mean, over MSRP for these boxes when they're still available. You can get them on Steel City right now for 13.75, but there were sales of 21.95, 17.50, 2100, all that happened a couple days ago. So I don't know if people just thought that they were going to get sold out and they had to scoop them, but I mean, they definitely overpaid. There seems to be a factor of, oh my god, this is new and the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, well, listen, if someone did what you just did and look at the prices that they're selling for,
Yeah,
but I gotta imagine. I mean, I think you get 22 parallels and 2 autos per box, so
correct.
you could definitely be shut out on this too.
Yeah, and then the other weird thing too is there's a Hogan autograph here that only went for 1,700. I mean, it's out of 49 instead of out of 10, but I would think Hogan.
Yeah, I
I
would think
mean,
we could have a little more,
I guess Hogan
little more
trumps
juice.
in the nostalgic audience, but this generation, maybe doesn't know who Hogan is as much.
Yeah, wasn't he in the news recently?
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, maybe bad PR stuff. I don't know.
Um. So
I
yeah,
stopped watching wrestling when I found out at the ripe age of 12 that it was fake,
yeah,
and I was devastated.
yeah. I mean, I gave up on wrestling also a long time ago, but I think that you will draw people that are trying to flip. So if you're buying boxes and you're looking for big hits and trying to flip, or people that will buy, will pay over price for high quality cards that they can then potentially get graded and then have the first PSA 10s of some of this stuff that take advantage of that. I think you'll see that, but just like any other product that comes out that we've said 500 times already on this podcast, is that the prices will come down on this, I think. especially since this is a multi-year deal. It's not a one and done. There will be a 2023 Prism that comes out at some point, for WWE. So I think the prices of this will eventually settle down. I would not go run out and pay 5x more than likely what the price will come down to.
Yeah, man.
So, but speaking of wax prices, we did a little bit of research as far as some of the other things out there. Um, it's weird in regards to 2020, 2021, 2022 wax prices. For the most part, prices are going up. I think you've seen a almost 100% increase on a lot of products. Just saw the Optic 2021 Optic prices get announced. Those are going for $1,000 a box for football. Those have never gone for $1,000 a box. Those have been over the last couple of years. Those were $500-$600 a box. Baseball Tops Chrome was another thing that's up 100%. You have those prices.
Yeah, I think hobby 2021 Topps Chrome hobby boxes last year were $200. Their pre-sale now is 500. And I believe the same thing with the jumbo. So the hobby boxes have the 2 autos per box. The jumbos have the 5 autos per box, and the jumbos were roughly about 500 last year, and they're pre-sale this year for $1,000 for
That
2022 Topps Chrome.
that's crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
Tops Chrome is
considering I'd be the guy that gets 4 pitching autos and 1 scrub 27-year-old rookie. Yeah, that I'll make maybe $50 on.
yeah. I mean, there seems to be a big difference. I mean, you could really get hosed on those boxes.
100%. But Tops is riding. I mean, we got to see how it works out. But a lot of top prospects made the big league roster, so that paves the way for some of them being in Top Series 2. And then your Topps Chrome release is
Both.
the of the bet. A mixture of Top Series 1 and Series 2. So all your key rookies will be in there. So as of right now, we really only have the Wander. But now we have guys like Julio Rodriguez and Spencer Torkelson and Bobby Witt. We got a bunch of names like that. They're possibly going to be in Series 2. I don't know if they're going to get away with holding any of them off till Topps update. But the prospects of having all those rookie cards in Series 2 is what's going to make is what's driving or why Topps can get away with a 1K jumbo
So
box.
that potentially, I mean, this potentially could be a monster class.
Without a doubt, it is huge, huge potential. But
Okay.
like anything else, you got to hit. The problem is with the prices being so high, when you don't hit, it's a bigger kick in the ass.
Yeah. I mean, it's a difference if you have a
It's
$250 box and you get hosed and you only have 50, $60 out of it versus something that's 2 and 3 times as expensive.
yeah, 100%.
I mean,
Like
you,
I wouldn't buy a box for $1,000.
yeah. I mean, we've gravitated, when we first started, you and I together first started this, we've purchased boxes and done some stuff. I mean, but we haven't even thought about buying a box in a year. I mean, it's just unless you love to rip and you want the experience, paying for a full box is it's super dicey as far as the return on investment. And for us, you know, if you don't have a lot of dispensable income and or you want to treat this as an investment or flip, buying boxes is the least successful option.
Yeah, I mean, and then again, but people are going to buy this stuff up because they're going to leave it sealed.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then it's going to be interesting over the next 5 to 10 years because we have a growing amount of stuff. Now, there's always been stuff left on shelves, but we have a growing amount of stuff remaining sealed, and the prices are just going higher and higher. So it's going to get real interesting.
yeah, I
But
mean,
the other thing is too, you get all the way up to 500 for a box and 1,000. Again, not to go crazy about. But you got your set collectors who will buy a box or two at a reasonable price because they're going to take all those base cards and they're going to do something with it. They're going to build some of the inserts. They're going to build the set. It's the start of what they love to do, and then they'll trade or buy the singles after that. But if you build Topps Chrome every year, I don't know many people are going to pony up to 500 with their main goal being not how much money am I going to get out of this box, but I just want to start my set.
Yeah.
That's a steep starting price for that.
Yeah, they're gonna have to buy secondhand market guys that are trying to dump boxes that they didn't get the big hits in and buy. I mean, you're gonna have to build sets in different ways. You're not gonna be building sets by buying boxes anymore. You're gonna have to build sets by buying off secondary.
Secondary, singles, lots, or what you'll have to do is I told you some of these bigger breakers, they do set pre-sales. I'm sure you can find someone who's ripping 100 cases of Topps Chrome that'll collate for you a Topps Chrome base set, and you can get it for a reasonable price.
Yeah, I mean, but it's definitely a different way to build. It's a much less fun way to build a set, though. I
Oh
mean,
no, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'd rather rip something
yeah,
and get whatever percent of the set I'm going to get and go after and chase the rest from there.
yeah, because you get a little bit of the juice and the squeeze here, as far as like I get the thrill of opening the box, but then it's like, okay, as you're flipping through, even if you don't pull the big hits, you still are like, okay, I need these cards, and you have that experience.
And I still have a few things I can still offset my box cost that I can get rid of. I
Yeah,
still have a few things I can use to trade to get the things I need. But again, starting that high, I just don't see it happening.
yeah. I mean, guy. I mean,
It's the gamblers at this point. It's just a straight up. I've got the money. I'm looking for the massive hit. I'm looking for that Wander Gold Refractor Auto, and I'll pony up 500 a box till I get it.
yeah. I mean, guys like you are priced out. I mean, there's
No,
no way.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
there's
would
no
never buy a
way.
$500 Top Scrum box.
Yeah, there's no way you're buying a $500 box of anything. I
E-
mean,
even
so
e- even with the better class potentially in series two, depending on that series two checklist, it's still not worth it to me for $1,000.
yeah. I mean, but there's definitely. I think if you look at the top, the MLB top prospects, you have what, 6 or 7 of those guys that'll be in the major leagues this year, that potentially will be in that that class.
Yeah, it depends. It depends. I mean, I think we said Riley Green's out. He's probably going to be out too long. So if he gets brought up at all this year, he'll either be an update or next year.
The
Uh,
manager. Oh, dude, I'm already ahead of you on this news here. Riley, the manager of the Tigers, already said as soon as Riley's healthy, he is the starting center fielder for the Tigers.
well, there you go. Well, and he was actually, if you came at me because we needed time for an investment, he is my investment piece with his injury. Because that's exactly right. He's going to be the second he's healthy. He's in the bigs, and people his some of his cards have dropped already. But anyway, yeah, you got the guys I mentioned already. You got Riley Green's in the top 10. You got
The
Gabriel Moreno
Yeah, the
will
catcher
probably
in
be up
Toronto.
this year. Yeah, it all depends on when they get up.
Was it you that snaked him in the fantasy draft, you dick?
From you, yes.
Yes, you fucking asshole. All
You
right.
got stuck with 0 for 10 Torkelson.
Yes. Hey, dude, Torkelson's gonna be good.
I hope so. I got stuff to sell.
Yeah.
I need him to hit a couple bombs. Move on.
All right. Let's see. We got anything else to talk about on WWE and wax prices?
No, what's next?
All right. Moving
CSG?
moving along. Let's talk a little bit of Zero Cool,
Ooh, zero cool.
Jackass. We've been talking about this. We've been keeping up with the Zero Cool stuff. We're going to keep talking about it because it's put out by Fanatics, and there's a fairly significant amount of interest in it. The very interesting part about this is the Jackass release was very, very different than the VeeFriends release. VeeFriends only released 1,000 boxes, and they only released like 22 of each base card. There's very, very limited releases. Jackass, you had 10x the product. 10,000 boxes produced, 9,500 boxes released. Base cards, there was 2,880 of each base card versus 22 of VeeFriends.
And a large base set.
Yeah, there's a huge base set for Jackass. So the prices, VeeFriends Dutch auction price closed at $2,100 a box. Jackass prices closed at $101 a box. I think there were 16,000 plus bids, and 101 was the winner. So obviously a vast price difference. If you thought you were going to make money, like the VeeFriend stuff and the shilling and all the other garbage that went on after VeeFriends, I don't think you're going to see the same thing here with the Jackass stuff. There's too much product. Some of the boxes are already up. They're selling for anywhere from 190 to 225. You're not making any money here. I mean, you may make 50 to 80 bucks, whatever it is, after eBay fees. So it's definitely interesting to see how they handle it as far as the abundance of supply for this versus the VeeFriends, which was a lot less.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of parallels. So until those get shipped and hit the secondary market, I don't think you're going to see a big shift on box prices. If for some reason there's some hot cards in there, and they explode on the secondary market, then maybe you'll see some movement on the box price. But I don't see them going anywhere, but stay right where they are, or go down a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, like for example, how many people are going to be building Jackass sets? I mean, I have to imagine the far majority that got into this release were looking to turn it over.
yeah, they were looking for autos. Knoxville autos. Well, Stevo autos. There's a couple of other interesting ones in here that you don't really think of when it comes to Jackass as far as some of the product and autos. But you had a silver parallel, a hollow parallel, a blue, a red, a gold, a player, which they're saying out of 5, black ice out of 1, and then a card 0, which is out of 0, which doesn't make sense to me. I don't
It
get
doesn't
it.
exist.
But it says card 0 parallels are numbered out of 0 on base cards and numbered out of 1 on autographs. I don't know what that means.
So there's the 1-on-1 non-auto, 1-on-1 auto, and they just tried to get cute.
Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, there's some interesting guys in here, like Spike Jones, who's obviously a movie director, Tony Hawk, Matt
Tony
Hoffman,
Tony
BMX.
Hawk has an auto.
Yeah, Tony Hawk has an
All
auto
right.
in this set. Yeah, Matt Hoffman and Tony Hawk, who's BMX, Butterbean, who has done some stuff with Jackass, Rob Dyrdek, who is a skateboarder and then also a huge business guy and brand with MTV. So some interesting stuff, but definitely interesting that it went for 101 versus literally a 20th of the price of VeeFriends.
Yeah, and for me, if I was all in on this and I got my box for $101, I'm not gonna. I mean, it's not worth it to me to put it up on eBay and hope I sell it for $185 and then make whatever on it. I'd rather just open the box
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
$100. I'm opening the box and seeing what I get.
Yeah, and if the prices come down a bit, we may fuck around and spend $100 and buy a box and have some fun with it. But they gave away a bunch of boxes to content creators. Unfortunately, we're not cool enough yet to get those free boxes. But I know like Sports Card Investor and Sports Card Nonsense, all those guys opened their free boxes from Fanatics and gave away that stuff. So, all right. You want to talk about our big purchase today?
What did we buy today? Oh, guy, we bought a Steph Curry rookie card.
That we did. So, um, of late, we've been trying to get into the PSA $50 level random submissions, and we've gotten lucky over the last couple weeks and gotten into 2 of them. What are the allocations on those? Are they 15
20.
or 20? They're 20.
20.
So we've basically been doing a ton of shopping. And normally we don't go looking for $2,000 cards on a regular everyday basis.
Well, remember that can't go in an economy
I know that.
sub anyway.
I set up the story
Oh,
saying we doing additional shopping for stuff because we have slots to fill.
carry on.
I'm a storyteller guy. I got to set the scene before we just jump right
Oh yeah,
in.
you're a storyteller. All right.
You need a little foreplay before you get to the business here. So since we were doing additional shopping and actively monitoring different things, like some of the things we like to purchase are HDA 95s that are good quality that we can flip into PSA 10s. So in the perusing of this, I found an HGA 95 2009 top Steph Curry. That was closing in like 2 hours. So, and it was midday on a Saturday closing. I was like, all right, PSA 9s of the Currys last sale was $2,000. So the PSA 9 selling more than the HGA 9.5. The guy had it priced at $19.99 as the starting bid. So we discussed whether or not we were going to make a run at it and try to just sneak in the one bid and buy it at that, or whether or not we were going to let it go and try to get it for less. So I emailed the guy on eBay. I said, "Hey, you have any room on this card?" And he came back and said, "If it doesn't sell, I'm willing to potentially take a little bit less." So we rolled the dice. There's only 9 watchers on the card. We rolled the dice that it wasn't going to get an auction, and we try to pick it up for less. So thankfully, it did not get a bid. So I emailed the guy. I said, "What are you willing to take? I'm ready to buy right now." So he said 1750 is the lowest I'll take. I opened the card back up and now taking best offers. So I sent in 1750 and he took it. So our plans,
And
uh,
it's a quad 9.5, I
it
believe.
it it is 2 9.5s, a 10, and a 9.
Oh, that's right.
So 9 corners is the only 9. Everything else is 9.5 or better. The centering's a 10, which is very helpful for this card as well. It's a Topps paper card from 2009, so provided that the corners aren't mangled, you can walk through what our plan of attack here is.
Yeah, I was just blanking on that again, but I believe we discussed going to BGS with it, sir.
That is correct, sir.
Yeah, because again, we looking at the comps, the BGS 9.5 dwarfs the eight, the price paid, and I feel good about the subs that are on the HGA that they'll mirror. We'll get the same kind of grade back on the nine and on the in the BGS. Um, corners 9, even though they're white corners, we can't see in the pic. If it's one of those things where it's real damn obvious that there's one bad corner and the rest of the card is pristine, PSA may still ding it a 9. So,
And in
uh,
which
uh,
case we'd be royally boned because we paid 1750 for it. Last PSA 9 did 2000. By the time you add tax and eBay fees, et cetera, we would definitely take a hit. We take about $300 or $400 hit if we got a 9 on it.
right, which sucks, but isn't the end of the world with the potential upside. But I feel pretty good about the grades it's received, and the right play is to Beckett here.
Yeah, and we have yet to submit anything to Beckett, so this will be our first Beckett submission, provided that the surgeon does not scratch it when he takes it when he cracks it out of the HGA case.
Well, luckily I've only scratched one card,
Yes.
taken a card out of a case, and I was somewhat vindicated because unfortunately the card had another massive scratch to it, so it wouldn't have PSA 10 anyway. But
Yeah.
I changed my methods a bit because of that experience, and I am now I'm good to go.
Yeah. We
I,
have
I feel
received.
quite comfortable opening a $2,000 card and not screw it up.
Yeah. Once again, find some fucking wood to knock on, please.
But my kids watch Phil's pulls all the time, Phil Hughes' channel,
Yeah.
and I was watching him open. I mean, this guy's a major league pitcher, and he can barely squeeze pliers and open it. I mean, he's manhandling cases. I have no idea how these cards didn't get damaged. I'm like, if he survived and didn't damage cards, I'll be all right.
If you would have let me buy the Slab Chopper 3000, we would have been fine.
Yeah, but that thing would have just shattered cards, man.
Um, so yeah, the plan is to send it to Beckett. The last 2 BGS 9.5s that sold at auction were 3550 and 5200. So Steph's coming off a ligament injury in his foot. Hopefully he plays in the playoffs. If he does, and Golden State goes deep, we hopefully will get this in our hands this week off to Beckett. And then, from what I understand, if you're at the $150, $200 level at Beckett, they're turning things around in 2 to 3 weeks. So hopefully, we have this back beginning of May, and at a BGS 9.5, and the Warriors are doing well in the playoffs, and Steph's playing well. It should be if it all goes well, it should be a really nice flip for us.
Yeah, and then the main takeaways from this conversation too is, negotiating on eBay is huge. You do it very well. There are a number of cards I look at and go, they're just asking too much. Move on. And you're like, screw that, dude. I'm going to talk to this guy and see what we can do.
Yeah.
And more than one occasion, you've gotten cards for well under comp for someone who's asking double comp just by testing the waters and just having a conversation and asking people where they're at. People tell you right away if they're going to be a dick about it. Be like, yeah, they won't respond, or they'll send you something nasty, and then you move on from there. But it can't hurt to ask.
Yeah, and I make, on best offer cards, I make offers all the time. Like if the card's listed at $1,000 and it's comping for 400, I'll offer 300. And if they, I'll push because a lot of times what they want you to try to do is they want you to try to make offers until you bid too much, and that's the first one that they're going to accept. They will auto decline until it's like $50 or $100 above comp, and then as soon as you make that offer, they will snap that accept on you, and then you just paid over a comp. So I'll offer up to comps, and if I get auto declined, I just pass. But I have no problems, offering. I mean, we got we got a 2018 Acuna auto out of 25 PSA 10 for well below comps because of that. And, so there's always opportunities. You just have to put in the time and make the effort.
Yeah, and then the conversation that we just kind of quickly had here was a more thorough discussion we had about current comps again across all grading levels, what kind of condition the card's in, and where's the place we're going to make the most amount of money with the best potential grade.
Yeah.
And we do that pretty much in every scenario on everything we buy.
Yeah, so that leads me to two things. Number one, we've had multiple requests for footage of the surgeon cracking cases and your technique. So at
No,
some,
have you really? No, you haven't.
dude, I swear to God, we have
All right. Well,
gotten,
I'll work. I will put the Curry on video then.
I have multiple emails of people because we've talked about cracking slabs on this podcast multiple times. So I have multiple emails of people asking like, "Hey, can you show us what you guys are doing?"
Oh, all right. Well,
And
for starters, why don't you forward me one of those?
one came in like a week ago once we launched the site. 'Cause he actually made a suggestion that we put something on the site as far as how to crack cases.
All right.
So that was
No
number one.
excuses on air.
Yeah.
If I slip, I slip.
Oh God. I don't need any more pressure. We don't need video evidence of this. And then second one, the interesting part about this whole thing was that we were able to get the HDA 9.5 for less than the PSA 9. So I want to take a quick look at, a
Ooh,
little
an
bit of
impromptu slab wars.
a little slab war here with the Curry. So obviously our HDA 9.5 price we got for 1750. So we'll look at nines and 9.5s for comparison. So PSA 9, last PSA 9 did 2000. One before that 1983, one before that 1925, all in the last couple of weeks. So I mean last couple of days. So that's definitely strong. BGS
And that
9.5s 35. The BGS 9.5 is the most interesting market of all of these. If you look at the last couple of months on these sales, um, the range is anywhere from 2,800 to 6,000, and it's bounced around in that range, from 30 if you look at these sales congruently, 3155, 5600, back down to 3200, back up to 5200. And these are within weeks of each other, days of each other. And you've seen that over the last 6 months, which is crazy. And I guess some of it is quad 9.5 versus not, or subgrades versus not. So there's just a very big amount of room here between these prices.
yeah, I also wanted to point out too. Say we get this card in hand, and I'll examine it. I'll put it under magnification like I always do. If the corners don't look that bad to me, I'll make an argument to you to send it to PSA.
Oh, Yeah, it's really easy for you to make the argument to send it to PSA because it's my money that we're gonna lose if it gets a 9.
Well, that's besides the point. The point is, if it's got a shot to gem, then that's the correct play.
Yeah.
But I get it, but that's part of that, and I bring it up because that's part of the decision making process here is risk versus reward and what you have in front of you. But
I
that's
mean,
the main thing. Is it something obvious where you're like, "Yep, it's the top left corner, and that's why this card's not a PSA 9 and not a PSA 10,"
so
or is it
I guess what we could do is we send it to PSA. If it comes back a 9, you have to crack it again, and we send it to BGS. That would
right?
be that would be my move.
Yes, that only puts you out an extra what, 100 plus bucks,
Yeah, it
or
puts us.
what
Yeah.
level is that at that point? Is it
If it comes back a 9, that would be under 2,500. So that's $100 plus the shipping. So it'd put us out an extra 100 and change. So that
right? And then so you're rolling the dice on the 10, you don't get it, but you feel good about the BGS 95 anyway. You're making the money back minus the $125.
yeah,
I mean, you're making a lot of money minus
that
$125.
I would do. If you come back to me and say these corners are not, this thing could 10, then I'll roll the dice and send it to PSA.
There we go, guy. See that?
I just had to logically process it in my head because
Well, again, that's why I think the conversations we have are valuable to people who aren't savvy graders, and what how much work and thought we put into it.
yeah, the only problem is if it comes back at BGS 9, we're royally boned.
Yeah, if it comes back at BGS 9, I will absolutely destroy HGA forever for you.
Fair enough. You heard it here first, folks. All right, so let's finish up Slab
But not
Wars
until
here.
they send back my cards they've been holding for 100 days and don't care about.
God, are they still on delay for sending stuff back?
Yeah, it's funny. So I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but I saw a post. I think I might have mentioned it last week, and forgive me if I did, but I saw a post saying if you're X number of days over, contact us, we'll expedite it. So I was like, well, Christ, I'm way over. I mean, so no, it wasn't days like total. It was okay. We're already late now. If you're that many days past late, then contact us and we'll expedite it. They're like, yeah, you're only 60 days late. You don't fall into that criteria yet. So
So you sent something over 120 days ago, 120 business days ago.
it was received December 3rd. So you can do the math on that.
Hey, that's three. That's 4 months and change.
Yeah, it's something. It was something my son wanted sent. It's another one of my Trey Turner PC cards to fit that camo collection I have going that I showed you.
Yeah.
And at the time you were thinking about JJ Watt. It's got that JJ Watt Kaboom in it because
Oh,
that
we're
was gonna
still
look
waiting
cool
on
with it.
that.
Yeah, guys, it's a custom Kaboom label. I'm actually really interested in seeing what that looks like.
Fuck, I forgot all about that card.
Well, because it was 4 months ago.
Do we have anything else in there?
Uh, Not for our sake, no.
All right.
There's one other card and I don't know what it is.
Fair enough. All right. Anyway, going back to this BGS 9 on the Curry last sale on that 1580, so not that far below what we paid on the HGA 9.5. SGC, do we have any of those in here on Card Ladder? No, we do not.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, well, figured we try to provide an alternative view. But my point being, there are opportunities out there. I mean, you get on the higher end of things with HGA, you could get some deals. Getting it for less than a PSA 9 is obviously great. And, you have options if you're not looking for PC and you are looking for flips, you have room to play here. And just a quick thing of like, Bunk and I are not, rolling in cash. This is definitely a larger purchase for us. But, what we did was, we utilized PayPal credit for this, which is another technique that you can potentially use. PayPal credit, Affirm credit. They both have some pretty reasonable um, payment options and/or interest free for the first X amount of months. So you can get cards, get them off to grading, get them back, pay back the credit line, and then you're not risking your own cash. And then for whatever reason you get fucked, you at least can take 6 months interest free and pay off whatever you lost. So in this particular case, if we lose, we're going to lose like $300 or $400. Spreading that out over 6 months and paying it back, not the biggest deal, not the end of the world. Definitely softens the blow. So it's definitely something you can look at as an option here too, to help fund some of the cards that you want to buy. Just be responsible with it, and don't just willy nilly go buy cards because you're not actually coming out of pocket for it.
And, and and the other thing I feel good about too is I've seen now probably a dozen HGA. People put their cards, they take the label out and put it next to their PSA 10 that they cracked the HGA. I've seen at least a dozen now, from pictures and people telling me cards that had two subs of nines. So they had two nines, a 9.5, and a 10. Got the 9.5 HGA,
Mm-hmm.
and they come back 10 PSA 10 with two sub nines. So I've seen enough two sub niners that I feel good about anything with one to take a chance on.
Well, hopefully you haven't jinxed us 17 different ways at this point, and this thing will turn out to be profitable. We will keep you
What I
post.
Go ahead.
We will keep you posted on all of it. We'll get some footage. We'll probably make it the video of the week of you cracking it and
God,
and opening it, and then obviously once we get it back, we'll do a full, excuse me, summary of all of it.
I'm gonna need to take something to calm the nerves.
Told you, guy. We'll hit up Tom Berenger, get whatever the snipers take to steady the hands.
I thought they just hold their breath.
Dude, they definitely have some sort of pharmaceuticals that they take for that. All right. Anything else on Mr. Curry?
No.
Okay. Moving along. You want to talk a little Gavin Lux?
Oh yeah, little mini slab wars,
Why don't you
little
set
baseball
Why
Star
don't you
Wars.
set the stage and tell a little bit of a backstory on why we're talking about Gavin Lux today?
Well, no, well, a for one reason, I was just looking for things that are closed. That, like with the slab wars, you've done it like a nice job with the 9.5 and stuff like that. I like to find multiple tens of things if that exists. So it just so happens of the 9 cards I looked at that had recent multiple company tens, this was one of them. And why it was of particular interest to me is, Gavin Lux was fairly well regarded, and then the last year or so that his prices just absolutely tanked because he wasn't playing. But then recently the Dodgers just moved AJ Pollock out of town. That paved the way for him to get some playing time. So hopefully, if he's going to get 5 to 600 plate appearances this year, he could be worth a buy right now.
All right.
So real, real, real.
Thank you for setting the story and providing the backstory for it.
Yeah, no problem. So we were looking at his flagship 2020 tops, card number 292. BGS 10, $100.
Wow. Will you
90.
actually be able to find one of those?
Well, there's 50 of them, so you might be able to find one. There
Okay.
there is 50 BGS 10s of that card, which I did find surprising. What was
Interesting.
not what was not surprising was how many PSA 10s you think there are of that card?
50 BGS 10s. I'd have to say there's 1,000 PSA 10s.
17,000
Holy
PSA 10s.
fuck.
Unless I screwed that, I already screwed up with an extra number earlier today. But
Is it
on
just
the
is it
Cena
just
card.
the regular tops?
Yeah, paper tops, which can be yours for $12.
Hold on. I have to look that up. Yeah,
Imagine.
1374. Yeah, 17,065. Holy
Yeah.
monkey.
Yeah, guy. And so the BGS 10 went for 100, the PSA 10 went for $12. And then I got a couple SGC 10s for you. I found an SGC 10 gold label, which I guess is the equivalent to the Beckett Black label. That went for $42. The regular SGC 10 went for $7.50. And I'm throwing this out there, but to be fair, the ones I already discussed ended relatively recently. There was a CSG 10, but it was back in February before the trade, et cetera, before the season, and that went for $17.50.
Did the trade happen
So,
like a few days ago?
uh, right at the start of the season, a couple days before.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you look at his price chart on even on, I mean, granted it's small numbers, but April 4th card sold $8. April 8th card selling $13, so almost doubled up on that price.
Yep. Yeah,
And
and if
then
he plays well at these prices, you're going to make some money on it. It's actually, parlay this right into a little investment piece while we're at it. But I mean, listen, it's a flagship tops card, and again, we're just showing the prices across the slabs. But this is one of the rare times where the PSA 10 is in dead last.
yeah, 'cause the population is 17,000. So the other interesting thing with if you look at his rookie cards is the rainbow foil. Um, $26 on March 30th, $90 on April 4th.
Yep,
So
yep.
definitely
The little things like that, little trades, hobby news. You pay attention to stuff like that, and then you can foresee the value of somebody going up. There it is. And this is
yeah,
Gavin Lux. This isn't a guy that's been tearing the cover off the ball. People are expecting good things out of him, but they just wasn't there. And he's at the bottom. I mean, his card prices are at the bottom where they're going to be.
yeah. I mean, look, he's a Dodger, so obviously major market. Dodgers are going to be in the hunt for a World Series again. Look for, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be these cards, but if you want to roll the dice a little bit on him to play well, find some other stuff, uh, Gavin Lux related that you can pick up and see if he can perform.
Yeah, but again, the main backstory was I was actually able to find 5 10s of this card. All the other cards I looked at, I could only find 2 or 3. So I didn't want to do that and a whole bunch of 9 5. So I got settled on Lux.
I'm not as cool as you. I talk 9.5s. All right, guy. So do we want to talk CSG real quick, and then we'll wrap up with the Dr. Bunk segment?
Yeah, I would talk CSG real quick.
All right. So CSG seems to have moved the goalposts. They decided that I guess so. To me, all right. So let me set the stage here as far as what they did, and then I'll give my opinion. So CSG decided to introduce an additional grade in their um, in their grading scale. So their original grading scale was pretty much like Beckett, where there was basically anything that gets a CSG 10 is perfect, and then everything else is CSG 9.5 and down. So they're introducing a new Gem Mint uh, scale, which is going to be a CSG 10, and then there's what CSG 10 Pristine or something along those lines, which is going to be basically the equivalent of your BGS 10 um,
Black Label.
black label type of thing. So it seems to me that they are trying to have the best of both worlds between BGS and PSA. So they have that black label, they have a regular, more attainable 10, and then they also have a 9.5. So it seems like you've combined PSA and BGS as far as the scales are concerned, so that they have their own scale now.
And they did away with subgrades except in one circumstance.
Yes, and they did away with subgrades, which, according to their quote unquote focus groups, nobody cared about subgrades, which I
It's
call.
nobody wanted to pay for it from your company. It had nothing to do with not wanting it. Who doesn't want subgrades?
Yeah, I would
Because you
agree.
don't want to pay for it, or you don't want to. You're going to lose money because you know there's something wrong with it. You just hope you get the 9.5, and you don't want to show that there's an 8 or an 8.5 on the card. It's dumb. And anyway, and then they go to the only place they put for free of charge. Thank you, CSG, because you're going to pristine my card. They only put subgrades on if on a 10. That's
And
when they put subgrades on without you asking. Is if a card 10s.
and now you can also submit your CSG 9.5s back to them, and they will evaluate it for $5. And if they
No, they just
deem
put it in the new look label. That's all.
no, they're also
Oh,
bumping some of those 9.5s to 10s. They're going to reevaluate it, and if it fits the new Gem Mint qualification of
are you
Gem Mint
serious with
10.
yourself?
Oh, dude, come on, man. You think I'm just pulling this out of my ass?
Well, that's garbage. That's why PSA 10s are garbage. That's my whole point. You're gonna send back 9.5s, and because they decided to change their whatever, some of those 9.5s are now 10s? Is
That
that what
is
you're
it.
telling me?
That's 100%.
That then I don't need to talk anymore about why PSA 10s are dumb. That proves my whole point.
What does one have anything to do with the fucking other?
Because you already graded a 9.5. It's not. It's either a 9 or a 10. Like, I don't understand how you can take that 9.5 and decide that now it fits your 10 criteria.
Because they changed their 10 criteria.
So it's 4 10s. I can't anymore.
If you go on CSG's website, they have definitions of what all this stuff is.
No, I understand. But if the card already received 9.5,
But
so
they then added a new 10 classification. So if that
but
card,
it already got a 9.5. It can't be a 10.
I'm not debating you.
I don't care what their definition is.
I'm just telling you what they're doing. You can now submit your CSG 9.5s for reevaluation. And if it fits the new definition of a 10, it now becomes a CSG 10. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you the facts. I didn't mean to like raise your blood pressure here and get you all fired up. I'm just telling you what they're
I
doing.
must be. I'm in my own world. Then I must be the only one who thinks that's absolutely ridiculous.
I think it is absolutely ridiculous. I just don't see how that has anything to do with PSA.
It has everything. Whatever. That's another day.
Yeah,
End
you
of the
seem
show.
to want to continue to kick that horse when it's down, and one has nothing to do with the other. This is CSG and what they're doing. Anyway, all right, time for Dr. Bunk. For those of you that are new to the podcast, Bunk is a licensed physical therapist, and we talk injuries from time to time, whether or not guys will rebound completely and get back to full strength, and how that may have impact their hobby cards. Most recently this week, Tiger Woods came back from some crazy leg injuries, is playing in the Masters, which nobody really thought he was going to be able to do. He's not playing particularly well, visible limp. So Bunk can walk through some of the injuries and whether or not anticipated for him to potentially get back to full strength. Which obviously, if Tiger comes back to full strength and wins some tournaments going forward, that will greatly impact his hobby cards.
Yeah, I think the thing to keep in mind with him though too is typically when we see certain injuries. Now, granted, his was extreme. We always look for, okay, when are they coming back? Soft tissue injury is this to this week, bone injury this to this week, this injury 4 to 6 weeks, blah blah blah. In cases when there's a traumatic event like this, there's no time frame. And in his case, first of all, he was near dead for starters. So the body went through that trauma. His one leg, from what I understand, was completely shattered, like
Yeah.
just pieces everywhere, sticking out of the skin. I mean, he must have so much hardware in his leg and that one leg. He also had damage to the foot and ankle. So you got a lot of things here that the fact that he's back at 46 years old, 14 months later, walking 4 rounds of golf is amazing in its own right. I think that alone should should spark some hobby value.
Oh yeah.
Um,
If you look at the last week, so we're looking at his 2001 Upper Deck PSA 10. So if you look at a week ago, 380, and then in obviously that week they announced that he's going to play. Card sold for 475. Basically when on Thursday or the opening round. So you saw a 25-30% jump right out of the gate as soon as he took the course.
Yeah. I mean, again, what he's doing is absolutely remarkable. I still think he's got probably a couple years ahead of him where he'll still be trying to gain some strength and learning how to compensate for it. For example, I'd have to honestly, I'd have to have the privilege of evaluating him to see what his deficits are
I'll,
after
uh,
this surgery.
I'll make a
Well, it's a
call.
big deal.
I'll make a call. See what he can do.
I'm just saying, in terms of, any kind of, he might have some permanent loss in some things, or things that just simply aren't going to get as strong, or he's got permanent range of motion loss. But these type of injuries, you're not guaranteed 100% of what you had beforehand. So, he's obviously worked his ass off to be able to compete. But as far as being able to comment on, what is his ceiling, how much can he get back? Is he not, is he always going to have a limp? That's impossible for me to know unless I physically look at him. But I do think walking 4 rounds of golf, I mean, we take for granted walking in grass and soft surfaces, but when you have an injury and you're not right and you don't have the same kind of endurance and strength that you usually have, walking in and people who've walked in on the beach before when they've had some sort of knee or ankle, they know what I'm talking about. It is hard. It absolutely drains, it takes it out of you, and that's why I think you're seeing that limp get worse and worse by the end of the day and by the
Yeah.
end of the weekend because he's out of gas.
Yeah, he had
Uh,
a solid opening round, finished one under, and then it's been downhill since then.
Yeah, and I imagine tomorrow will be probably not great either. But again, I'm thoroughly amazed that he's doing what he's doing. Um, and then we'll see what happens. Is he going to say, "Wow, I just did that and that just took everything out of me"? I mean, is that going to change his timetable in his head of when he calls it a day,
I mean,
or is this going to make him fight more and see what else
golfers
he can get out of his body?
golf into their freaking 60s and 70s, so I would have to imagine
Well, not all of them drive off a hill at 100 miles an hour.
that's true. I mean, one would have to think that as long as he has a prognosis that he can get back to somewhat full strength, that he'll stay on the tour. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
he's just going to leave, but I mean, I know that he has other issues. He has back issues and other things that
He
he's.
had a previous knee surgery. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
I
yep, yep.
mean, they say that his back is pretty mangled because just the way he swings, there's so much torque that he's had some back strains and other things. So we'll see. But I mean, from a hobby perspective, I it's tough because he's not playing well. He's going to finish towards the bottom on the leaderboard, and his cards, at least this particular rookie card. I mean, granted the pops are high on this. But this is basically at some near term highs. These like 475, 465 last two are as high as this card has sold for in almost a year. Um,
Okay.
so I'd be I'd be hesitant to buy here. If I was going to, I'd be buying here in the hopes that he's going to win another major, and if he wins another major, that thing
Oh,
will,
forget about it.
yeah, will pop.
The
Um,
comeback story, if he ever won another major, would be absurd.
yeah, so I think that just like in season, when the season ends and the hype dies down, I think you're going to see that here, a little bit of a Masters hangover over the course of the next, whatever, depending on what he says and then the next tournament he's going to play in. So I think these cards will come back down and you'll be able to pick it up for that same like 350, 360 range. And that's when I would look to get in and hope that he can come back and win another tournament.
Isn't one of his most ridiculous price cards one of those Sports Illustrated for kids cards?
Um,
I swear it is. And I had all of those magazines as a kid. And I remember all the cards that came in little perforations. I wonder if any of those are left anywhere
yeah,
in
there are definitely some
my house
floating
I grew up
around.
in.
Oh, in your house? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even touching that one. Tiger Woods Sports Illustrated. Let's look it up for funsies.
Could have sworn because that's right around that early 2000s.
BGS 95 Tiger Woods Sports Illustrated $7,800.
Yeah.
A 1996 Tiger Woods Sports Illustrated magazine that got graded a CGC 98 sold for $7,500.
Damn. That I don't have. I just remember the Sports Illustrated for kids.
Yeah,
That would have been that would have been even earlier than 2000. I wasn't a kid then. So I'm trying to remember
dude.
why I'm thinking
Even
of
the
that year.
even the raws on those are going for 2K plus.
Wow.
A PSA 85 did
From
2,200.
2001?
Yeah, no, this is 1996 Sports Illustrated for
96.
kids.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah, you get your hands on an uncut sheet of, Sports Illustrated for kids from that year. It's going for 2 grand plus. PSA 8's 1,800. So it doesn't even have to be in that good of a condition for you to
No,
make some
I'm
money.
telling you because everyone threw them out. That's why.
Guy, go hit up mom and dad. Dig it out.
You know where I might have a bunch of Sports Illustrated for Kids cards if they were torn and perforated? They would just be sitting in boxes that I haven't looked in 30 years.
Well,
I'll come across them one day.
you should unearth those.
Yeah.
All right, you got anything else for the fine folks to talk about?
No, guy. I think we covered quite a lot today.
All right, yeah, definitely all over the place. All right, some quick notes. For those of you wanting MLB opening day stuff, we're going to talk about it next week. We're only 2 or 3 games into the season, not a ton to talk about right now. So we'll talk opening. You know, we've talked about baseball a fair amount, so we'll talk opening day next week. And then, yeah, hit the website, sportscardadvantage.com, social media, sportscardadvtg on Instagram and Twitter. Send us an email, info@sportscardadvantage.com. So anything you want us to talk about on the show, request your bunk videos.
Make sure you
And
take advantage and spend $5 on your CSG 9.5s because you're going to get 10s.
and on that bright and cheery note, we will wrap up this episode and we will see you next week.